did a video, sort of a homemade video just on the weekend, but I've been thinking a little bit more about it, about Mark Carney announcing that Canada recognizes Palestine. Here's the tweet. He spells recognize wrong. I mean, that's the British way of spelling it. You know, there's British spellings, there's Canadian spellings, there's American spellings. I find it really weird that the prime minister of this country spells like a Brit. I love Britain, you know that. But does he have some special PR shop back in the UK that's doing extremely important work for him, like announcing that we're recognizing Palestine? We spell it with a Z, and we don't say Z, by the way. I think Mark Carney was away from Canada so long, I don't even think he really likes us. I think he's said that before. He regards himself as European. He regards himself as globalist. He has 3 passports. We don't know if he's given anything back. I just think that little detail is weird. It's the smallest part of this story, but I wanted to mention it anyways. Now, as I said in my video yesterday, Canada, in fact, did not endorse Palestinian independence. In fact, last year in Parliament, MPs had a vote on the subject, and they did vote to give Palestine recognition with a few big ifs, condition precedents, as they're called in law, strict conditions before such a gift would be given. And those conditions were actually repeated by Mark Carney himself just 2 months ago. He did it in writing. He did it orally. He said, first of all, Palestine has to demilitarize. Second of all, they have to completely remove Hamas. Hamas can't be involved at all in the future. Number 3, there has to be democratic reforms, including a free and fair election held next year. Actually, it's just a few months from now, 2026. And finally, he reiterated his call to release hostages. So back in July, Mark Carney, and you could say he had the approval of Parliament to say that, because that was what the motion a year ago said. He said, if these things are done, condition precedent, he used the word predicate, then he would approve of Palestinian statehood. Well, they didn't do any of those things, and yet yesterday he announced it on a weekend, so of course there was no question period to hold him accountable. What's so obvious here, if I were to simplify it, Mark Carney recognizes Palestine as a country, but they don't recognize Israel as a country. They want to destroy Israel. And I think this is where we have to ask a few questions of Mark Carney, or whoever's writing his policy for him. Maybe we have to go to London to find out. What does he mean by recognizing Palestine as a sovereign nation? What does that mean? I know some elements of a sovereign nation. You have borders, you have a capital, you have a constitution, you have a government, you have a definition of who is a citizen. What does Mark Carney mean? Right now, I don't know if you know the map, but Palestine, or the Palestinian Authority, has 2 different geographies. One is called the West Bank, and the other, not connected to it, is called the Gaza Strip. Now, the West Bank, as you may know, is run by a terrorist named Mahmoud Abbas from the PLO. That's Yasser Arafat's old party, the Palestinian Liberation Organization. He has some control, but it's under Israeli security. So it's sort of like they run the town councils. It's semi-autonomous, but Israel has control over it militarily. Gaza, on the other hand, Israel completely moved out of Gaza in 2005. In fact, they forced the small number of Jews living there to leave. They actually dug up the Jewish cemeteries and reburied those Jews elsewhere because they knew what would happen. Hamas took over in 2005, won the first election, and never bothered having a second one. So for really 20 years, Gaza has been a Hamas terrorist place. And by the way, the Palestinian Authority that Mahmoud Abbas runs is at odds with Hamas. They hate each other and kill each other. So who is the government? Is it Hamas? Is it the PLO? Is it someone else? Who is the leader of Palestine? Is it who? I mean, I could guess. We don't know because Mark Carney didn't say. Who will represent it to Canada? What's the Constitution? And I ask because I think it's important because, for example, Hamas, their charter, as it's called, explicitly calls for the destruction of Israel and the killing of Jews. They use the word Jew. It's not just Israelis. So is that the constitution of this new country that Mark Carney supports? What are the borders, by the way? And that's not a trivial question. The borders are quite contentious. Will Jerusalem be part of this new Palestine? Is that the capital? Because they sure say it's going to be the capital. I don't know if you ever heard that chant, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, that's a phrase they use in English and in Arabic. Again, if you look at the map, the river is the Jordan River. That's the eastern boundary. And the sea is the Mediterranean Sea. That's the western boundary of Israel. So if you're going to grant statehood to Palestine from the river to the sea, that is the extermination of Israel and the fulfillment of the Hamas charter to kill every Jew. Is that what Carney supports? He hasn't said. In a way, it's meaningless what he announced. It's not within Canada's gift to create a new country. It's not like we're the British Empire that was slowly devolving colonies. There was a period of time when the British Empire spanned the world, including what was called Mandatory Palestine, including all sorts of parts of India and Africa. Yeah, it was within the power of the empire to decolonize. Canada, really, it's like that would be like Canada expressing our opinion on some boundary issue with Azerbaijan. Okay, thanks very much for your opinion. That and 35 cents will buy me a payphone call. It was already done, the granting of a Jewish state and a Palestinian state. That was actually what the UN voted for, I don't know, some almost 80 years ago. And immediately the Palestinian side attacked the Jewish side. It was miraculous that they succeeded. Time and again, the Arab countries have tried to attack and beat Israel. It's a miracle every time Israel has survived. Nonetheless, Palestinians, or those who call themselves Palestinian, even though they're often from other countries, they have been offered a state about 7 or 8 times now. It was the number one visitor to the White House during Bill Clinton's term was Yasser Arafat, the head of the PLO. He visited so many times, and they won the Nobel Prize with Bill Clinton for a peace deal. They immediately renounced it. He said that if he were to ever do a peace deal, he would be killed by his own people. He got everything he wanted. Israel and America basically said yes to every demand. And at the last minute, Arafat actually wouldn't sign it because he said, I'd be a dead man if I did. The Palestinian political force, whatever it is about killing Jews and ending Israel. It's not about building a new country. That's the Hamas charter. That's why Gaza looks like Gaza and not like Dubai. Think about it. Gaza was given control of itself in 2005. If they had gone the progressive, enlightened route of Dubai, it would look a little bit more like Dubai right now. There would be skyscrapers. There would be beautiful beaches. There would be a strong economy. I mean, it's on the Mediterranean Sea. It would be an amazing place, but they chose to make it a terrorist camp. That was a decision they made. When Hamas and civilians from Gaza attacked Israel on October 7th, 2023, they didn't shout about creating a new country. That's not what they said. They said, we are killing Jews. That's what the attackers said. They didn't mention a new country. That's not what they're up to. Canada is powerless in this whole thing, which is sort of sad. We don't have any military force that would be relevant at all there. No one cares what we say. We don't have any political force. Even Justin Trudeau, who thought he was so charming and spent tens of millions of dollars lobbying other countries to get on the Security Council of the UN, no one took Canada seriously whatsoever. Trudeau was just Mr. Fancy Socks. He was a lightweight and always treated so. The only people who ever treated him with respect are the Canadian regime media. So nothing that Mark Carney said yesterday will change what's on the ground, other than Hamas will count this as a political win, which they already did. They already made a public statement thanking Canada. Do you feel good about that? Hamas cannot win militarily, but they can certainly hurt a lot of civilians as they go.